Hey, this is Dwayne.
This is TJ.
Mrs. Thanks for letting me share.
Why are we doing this?
This podcast was started to open up a safe discourse around recovery and some of the stigmas, realities, and really unknown aspects of it.
Yeah. And what does recovery mean to you?
To me, recovery means being able to live a life of purpose and meaning, a happy life, a fun life without alcohol and drugs.
Yeah, I believe like you can be in recovery from anything, right? I feel like a lot of things can keep you stuck or feeling like you're not connected to yourself, others, or a higher power. In particular, for me, being in recovery from alcoholism, all the crazy thoughts with that, you know, it's like you said, I can live life today. I'm not held down by this thing. And like, there's this like dark cloud, this darkness isn't on me anymore. I can like breathe, I can live, I can dream and hope and all these things. And I value life more than I value living in the past and fear and all that stuff. So
I feel like I'm recovering the person that I was meant to be and could be from the person that alcohol, drugs, and lack of spiritual and emotional literacy was turning me into.
I like that. Recovering the person you're meant to be. Yeah. Building some sense of self and authenticity, which I never really lived out. So like finding that. And for me, it's like embracing stillness, calm and peace. I don't know, that notion. For me, it's always the notion of like, there could be a storm and I'm calm. The calm in the storm, like serenity, right? I've never had that. There's never been calm. And so just being like, I'm good. This idea of I'm good. Like that's what it is for me. But I just, you know, since I've been there and now I'm on this other side of it, I just want to share that with other people, especially like other people who are struggling, Black people. Like there's still a lot of stigma in our community about like mental health. Like, why do you need to go to a therapist when you can go to church and you just pray? Like all that stuff is like, okay, but we have these tools. People need access to the tools to actually like get better and get help. And so like, that's what I needed, but it was so stigmatized that we weren't having open conversations about things, and I had to like go through it to experience it.
On that note, I definitely want to see men as a whole, not just Black men, but men as a whole, be more open and comfortable and aware of how this could save them and save their lives and save them from just pain and suffering in general, because like we don't have to just keep it all in. You know, somebody will be there, and surrounding yourself with the right people that are willing to listen and willing to help is the biggest step. And surrounding yourself with people who aren't going to judge you for your past or your present. I think anybody who in the recovery space who sees and who acknowledges that you're working on becoming a better whole person is going to be there to facilitate that and to help you grow. And
I do want to think, because I feel like there's a lot of debate about like what recovery is, and we could do a whole session on definitions and stuff about that, but I don't think it's just, I feel like my recovery started the first time I went to rehab. Even though I didn't get sober at that time, I still started this journey of being like, okay, what is going on with me? Why do I drink differently? Why do I emotionally feel awful all the time and not connected to myself? Why do I have an eating disorder? Why am I anxious? Like all these questions and things that weren't making sense. I had no words for when I started, you know, this recovery process by entering the rehab doors, and I started to get this information, started to do some self-reflection, peeling back the onion of all the things that make me, right? I feel like it started there. So I just like being a vessel for people to like start where you are as long as you are making progress, doing something, getting better, like whether that's emotionally, spiritually, physically better, like working toward whatever goal you think, like you said, the best version of yourself, that is recovery.
On some level, I feel like recovery started the second I asked myself, why am I living like this? Like, what am I doing? Like, when is this going to change? And yeah, it was it was years from the time that I asked that question to the time that I found myself in rehab. And, even before I went to rehab, I had a list of local meetings in my phone pulled up for months. Months, I tell you. Like, I need something, And on some level, I knew that long before I started rehab or going to, real meetings and becoming a part of these recovery spaces. And I made a major move and a major life change based on that. And even after that, it was still another 2 years before I set foot into any sort of established recovery space.
That's fair. I like that because I started drinking at 19. My first time in AA was 22. And so I guess I had started asking myself these questions, like, why am I drinking differently? Why am I drinking through my internship jobs and my co-op, and I can't go and take my LSAT exams because I'm drunk, right? I am very different. So, I guess it did start there because it did start a journey of, I would take my self-will back and be me and be in my addiction. But then there were times where it's like, wait, let's think about this. What's happening? And so it was back and forth. I think the one thing I want people to know, through doing this and sharing my story, is to know that where you are is where you're supposed to be. As long as you just remain open to trying, right? We're either dying or we're living. We're either dying or we're growing. For me, it's even though I didn't get it for a long time, there were still very, very small steps toward where the goal was. And sometimes I went backwards, but usually something else happened that inched me forward a little bit. But having people who gave me grace, having people in the rehabs TJ, I'm so glad you're back, right? It'd be okay, cool. Small things like that just help me continue to move forward. And I feel all that is part of the journey for me, or was part of the journey for me.
Yeah. I guess too, there was a point of asking, why does this make me feel normal and make everybody else feel crazy? What is wrong with my brain? But I always kind of knew that my brain worked a little different from everybody else's. Yeah. And it wasn't a matter of trying to be this rebellious person. It's more of how do I get it to work like everybody else's? And the truth of the matter is, it never will. Yeah. And I'm okay with that. Yeah. Now, and I accept my mental, emotional, and chemical makeup for what it is. And I work with it as such, and I work within those parameters, and I do what I got to do to keep myself alive. And I wasn't one of those people who were I wasn't shooting anything or doing opiates, but I came dangerously close a lot of times. And eventually, I realized that eventually if I kept doing that, I was going to become that person.
That's fair. I feel I never really had access to hard drugs. Growing up, my parents were pretty strict. And there was a little bit of going to church and some of those values. And I was kind of raised anti-drugs. And so I never really had access. But I will say alcohol was just easier. And I didn't see it as a big as stigmatized as drugs. But there was a shift. Later on, there was a period where I was this isn't working anymore. What's harder? What's next? And I'm just glad this is how I know that there's a higher power, because I went to rehab before I got to that, that next step. So something else was working on my behalf that whole time.
If I'm being completely honest, I didn't start using the really hard drugs until I was in my 30s. Mm-hmm. So like when people talk about it being progressive, it's like, it is. And the crazy thing is, the first time that I tried the really, really hard drugs, I was hammered. So like and going back and that thinking of like, I'm not an alcoholic, I'm just a drug addict. I could still drink, not real putting two and two together that like every time you tried another drug you liked, you were fucking hammered, dude. Mm-hmm. Like it doesn't lead to good things for you.
Yeah.
Honestly, I had this idea too that because I didn't like do heroin or fentanyl, like when one day the pain got too great, I would just get some and just, do a whole bunch and end it. And then somebody asked me, well, what if you wake up? And I was like, fuck. Oh, yeah. Like that is I never even considered that my plan wouldn't work.
Yeah. Well, I'm really excited to do this with you, go on this journey, like share these stories, and hopefully it helps somebody. But even if it don't, we've stayed sober, so it's all good.
That's what they say. So, thanks for letting me share.
Thanks for sharing.